Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank is away on business again, so I'll do my best to hold down the fort as usual. This is the show we talk about the Patriots, the Bruins, the Celtics, and the Red Sox. We get you all caught up to speed on the weekly goings on with the local teams. And before we get started, let me see if I can try to post a link here so you guys can join the show. And we're going to start with. Hang tight 1 second. All right. We're going to start with a little bit of Bruins news. Not a lot going on here, but they are getting ready to start training camp this week. And there is some slightly concerning news that David Pastrnak is not going to start camp. I don't know how many days he's going to be out, but I guess he has tendonitis. So they're being cautious with him, rightfully so. It's an 82-game grind. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So I don't see any reason to put him out there and have them kill themselves. But, it's kind of a short week. I mean, training camp is starting today or whatever. And their first game is on Sunday against the Washington Capitals. And that's where they're going to start the season opener against in Washington. So to get a little bit of a preview against each other. Not a ton because there's going to be a lot of young guys playing, I'm sure. But, this camp here will be a good opportunity for a lot of the young guys that they grabbed to see if they can stick. We'll be getting more into it as the weeks go on. Probably maybe a little bit more next week as they're playing games. We'll talk about, maybe who's up and who's down or who's getting, what looks and stuff and who's been exciting so far in the camp. Let's see, 1, 2, probably 3 weeks. I think October 8th is their season opener, so they got about 3 weeks. And they only have 6 games, which the games are shrinking. I remember as a kid, they used to have 10 games. Now it's 6. And actually, Andy Brickley was on the Red Sox telecast either last night or the night before, and he said that it's going to go at some point go down to 4 games. So I don't know how that gets them ready for the season. I think this is kind of like football. They're trying to squeeze. Now they're talking about adding 2 more games and making an 84-game season again. They did this once before. They knocked it back to 82. I don't know what the thought process is there. When they have the Olympics, they lose 2 weeks. And I think it's this year. I'm not 100% sure. But whatever it is, reducing the exhibition games and adding more regular season games, I don't think that benefits when you get a chance to look at the young guys. I mean, look what's happening in football. They only have 3 games, and a lot of young guys play, and the veterans don't really play that much. So I don't know. It'll be curious to see what the hell's going on. Danny says there's a rumor Matt Grzelcyk is coming back. I hope that's not true. I don't want him back here. He's too small. There's no point in bringing him back. He can't play in the playoffs. They don't need him. He's, old news. Move on. Get the next guys. And, they signed all these defensemen. Don Sweeney's been signing all these guys to all these $800,000 contracts, for down in Providence and for depth. 1 or 2 of these guys has to stick. So, we don't need them. I don't. Again, not personal. Not because I don't like him or whatever, but he served his purpose when he was here for a little bit, and he doesn't serve a purpose anymore, in my opinion. So wherever he goes, good for him. All right, that's it for the Bruins news. Now we need to move on, and we're going to go to the Red Sox. They had a horrible homestand. Horrid, horrible, use whatever adjective you want. They have sucked ever since Roman Anthony left the lineup. I want to say their record's 5-9 or 4-10 or something like that. They're back to the same crap they were doing before. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. They're not being as patient at the plate. They're not scoring runs, and they're losing to teams they shouldn't lose to. Again, they they lost 2 of 3 to the A's, who they shouldn't lose to. But the A's, and I didn't realize this obviously because I haven't been paying attention to them at all because they were in the basement in their division for so long. But the Oakland A's have the best record in the American League since July 24th at 29-18, and they just came in here and took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox, and they have the 3rd best record overall in all of baseball since July 24th, and they have a crap load of young guys, but they do have something the Red Sox don't have. They have a couple 30 home run guys. They have a few mashers in their lineup. That's another thing the Red Sox, other than Trevor Story, no one's hitting home runs. That's a huge loss. I mean, losing Wilyer Abreu, who had 22, I think, he's been out for probably a month. And they're talking about maybe having him come back sometime over the weekend, but he didn't fly out with the team. There's a guy whose bat they could definitely use. 8 for the last 71 with runners in scoring position. I watched the last couple games. Bases loaded, nobody out, no runs scored. Multiple innings, multiple times in different games. I'm harping on the A's because it just happened, but, go back to last weekend when they played the Yankees, and I saw it coming a mile away that they would lose 2 out of 3 to them because I didn't like the pitching matchups, and it held true. They had their ace guys going. They had Luis Gil, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but 6 shutout innings, 2 hits, no runs. The Red Sox couldn't do squat, and the Red Sox made 3 errors in that game Friday night, and it's pretty damn sad when you have more errors than hits. You're not going to win any games doing that. The fielding is still an issue. The bullpen's still an issue. They can't get quality starts. I want to say Lucas Giolito pitched decent. He pitched 5 2/3. We only gave up 2 runs, but then the bullpen came in and gave up 2 more. They lose the game 4-1 Friday night, and then Saturday, Max Fried, their ace guy who's got 17 wins, 5 2/3 innings, 2 runs, and Brian Bayo. This is not a good time for him to turn into a pumpkin. 5 innings pitched, 4 runs. Not good enough. We had a stretch where, Crochet, Giolito, and Bayo were really carrying the load as the top 3 guys in the rotation, and now Giolito and Bayo are turning into pumpkins like they were earlier in the year, and so they got nothing. They can't get good pitching. The bullpen, awful. The 3rd game against the Yankees, you had Crochet going. He wasn't completely sharp. He did pitch 6 innings, got 12 strikeouts, but he gave up 4 runs, 3 runs. I'm sorry, and they were lucky to hang on that game. But there's a guy here that came in. So now we'll move on to. I want to move on to the A's game, the first one where the Red Sox lost 2-1. Connolly early. 5 1/3 innings, 80 pitches, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Freaking Cora comes out in the 6th inning. I think he had 1 or 2 guys on base. Takes him out, brings in freaking Greg Wiesert again. This bum comes in, gives up a run. The score's tied, and then they end up going on to lose. He gave up the tying run, and I forget if he gave up the winning run or not, but. Not good enough. This guy can't pitch with guys on base. He needs clean innings. He's got 9 blown saves, most in Major League Baseball. So I call these guys Ocean State Jawlaw bums for a reason, but I have a new phrase that I'm going to use now for these guys, and I have to give complete credit where credit is due. On Frank's show, Box Seats, one of the comedians on there, Jason Hayes, has a phrase, and these guys are called doo-doo juice. And so every time I see Wiesert and Zach Kelly and these other freaking bums, and they start sucking it up, their names are going to be called doo-doo juice. I mean, that's what they've been doing. They've been sucking ass, and they are killing them. They can't afford to fall out of the race, and they're in danger. They're in danger of not making the playoffs, and it's because of the way Breslow built the roster. I'll still hop on that. This is where the talent they don't. People say, "Oh, they have enough talent. They made it this far." The talent is only getting them so far. Romy Gonzalez had a ball hit to him at second base yesterday. He was in the right spot. They shifted him over towards behind the bag or right off to the side of the bag where the new rule is. Ball comes right to him. He goes and dives for it. Freaking bounces off his glove. I'm like, these effing guys can't make routine plays. Today, Trevor Story made 2 throwing errors. I don't know what the hell his deal is, but he's been pretty solid all year, so I don't really have a problem with him. But him, David Hamilton, I've been hopping on him all year. He was in Worcester. Well, somebody got hurt, then they brought him back up. It's like, these guys are not good enough. I don't care that Gonzalez, smashes lefties. He came up with guys on base yesterday and didn't come through. So these guys are, they're not getting it done. There's a slump going on here. I don't know why they play good. They win 6 out of 7 or whatever, and then all of a sudden they lose 5 out of 6. I think they've lost 5 of the last 7 now. They go through these slumps. They got 9 games left, and they have 6 of them on the road. They're going to Tampa Bay starting tomorrow for the weekend. They're 8-2 against Tampa this year so far. So and Tampa's in 4th place, and they're like 3-7 or 4-6 in their last 10 games. You would think that going down there, the Red Sox could at least take 2 out of 3, but I don't have confidence that they can do it. And then after that, they have to go to Toronto, who's in 1st place, and they're going to be looking to wrap up the division playing against you. The Red Sox record against them is like 3-7 versus Toronto. They've owned you all year long, and they've owned you for multiple years now. It's probably been a good 4 years that you can't beat them. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't expect anything good to come from this road trip. I think they'll be lucky to win two games. If they win more than 2 games on this trip, I'll be surprised. And then the last homestand of the year, they have Detroit coming in here. Detroit's in 1st place in their division, and they have Cleveland breathing down their necks now. Cleveland's won 9 of their last 10, and they're a game and a half behind the Red Sox in the wild card race. And so it is quite possible that between now and our next show, the Red Sox will be on the outside looking in, and Cleveland will overtake them, and the Red Sox will not be in the wild card. They won't have a playoff spot. So it's not good. They got to figure out what the hell's going on here. The hitting is just bad. I mean, and you have guys in slumps. Rafaela, before these last couple games, 5 for his last 42 in September. He's at 119 before last night's game, I think. Not good enough, dude. He just went. He had a hot streak, in the middle of the year. Now he's cooked. Alex Bregman, he hasn't done squat either. He's hitting 200 in his last, 40 at bats or whatever it is. Like, you got to get production out of these guys. You got to find a way to hit. And I heard something interesting on sports radio. Of course, they're going to theorize and whatnot, but remember earlier in a few of the series when it was suspected that some of the pitchers were tipping their pitches, or the Red Sox were somehow cheating, picking up the signs and relaying it to the hitters and whatnot, because the third base coach was out of the box on the side, and it looks like they're not out of the box as frequently as they were, and so there's some speculation that they're not getting the signals like they were earlier, like a month ago or whatever. I don't know what it is, but talent wins in every league. I don't care what anybody says. At this point, sometimes the lunch pail guys, yeah, they can overcome. But in this day and age, when you have teams spending, buku crazy dollars, and look, some teams get away with it. They don't spend buku crazy dollars because they can't, like Tampa Bay. But other teams, the Phillies, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, I would say even Houston to an extent. Detroit would be an outlier. They're not spending a ton of money. I think last year they had one of the lowest payrolls and they made the wild card. I mean, the majority of the teams, they pay and they win. And, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, you got Rob Resnick playing regular. You got Gonzalez playing regular. You got Hamilton back in there playing some. You got Wiesert and freaking Zach Kelly back in the pen. Wiesert should just come in a clean inning. Unfortunately, the bullpen's getting taxed again, and Cora doesn't have a choice. So I think he's trying not to, do like he did the last couple of years, and be like, well, it is what it is. This is who we are. This is who we have, blah, blah. He's like, hey, all right, the guy needs to pitch. He needs to come through for us. So he's kind of throwing it back at the players. But I just think that the players that he has are not good enough. They're just not. And they did not do enough at the deadline. We went over this. Dustin May didn't pan out. He's on the DL. Jordan Hicks didn't pan out. He's on the DL. Liam Hendricks, who they got last year, an injured reliever, they had to put him on the shelf. None of these guys have panned out. I don't know. And Aroldis Chapman. Now there's another dude that's been, lights out all year long. Gave it up in one of the games along the way here and gave up a game-winning run or whatever. You can't expect him to, have a 1-0 ERA all year long and have no hiccups. And the problem is all the hiccups are coming at the wrong time. The hiccups are all coming at the wrong time now in the last couple of weeks. They need to find a way to hit in the clutch. They need to find a way to stop making errors. I don't know how they do that. They haven't been able to do it all year. 3 errors and 2 hits in a game. You ain't going nowhere with that. The fielding's been atrocious. We've covered it. We've been over it. I don't know what else Alex Cora can do when you don't have talent and you don't have stability in some certain spots to mitigate the errors that they're making. I just don't see it. And now the starting rotation is bad. I mean, Connolly early, again, nice story. He's had a couple good outings, but they're going to have to rely on him. He needs to come through now. His last couple starts. He's probably got 2 starts left. They need him. Because Giolito and Bayo are crapping out at the wrong time. I don't know what their issue is, but you got Crochet and Connolly early. That's a recipe for disaster. They had to put Peyton Tolley in the pen. Seems like it might work. He pitched 3 shutout innings, gave up no runs out of the pen today. But, your starters have to give you 6 innings so you can save the arms in the pen, not overuse them. And it's a theme here. When they don't have guys in the 5th spot to start, they're using openers again. You can't be using openers this late in the year. If I see Brennan Bernardino start one of these games in the last couple of weeks, you might just shut the lights off and close all the doors and say goodnight at Fenway, because there ain't going to be no playoffs if they have to keep doing that over the last couple of weeks. The opener thing doesn't work. They got to get reliable guys, and they don't have them. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but they got to do something. I don't know how Cora can get more out of these guys. I think we've been over this He's been dealt a bad hand, in my opinion. He doesn't have enough talent. I don't care what anybody says. I hear the sports radio guys all day long. Well, they have enough talent because they made it this far. We can't use that as an excuse. I'm like, if they don't make the playoffs because they don't have enough talent, that is not Alex Cora's fault. That is Breslow's fault. You know, we talk about this all the time. You know, I'll go back even further. Go back to when Bill Parcells was the coach of the Patriots, and he said, hey, you know, they want you to cook the dinner. They should at least let you buy some of the groceries. I mean, I don't know how involved Alex Cora is when they sign these guys, these Ocean State job lot bums, as I call them. They just can't have them. You know, I don't know how to get around that. I don't know what they do, but, you know, they've been bad. And, you know, they're slumping, and it's at the wrong time. And, you know, I just have a bad feeling they're not going to make, you know, at the beginning of the year, I said they'd get 88 wins and miss the playoffs. They might not even get to the 88 wins. They have 83 right now with 9 games left. They need to win 5 of their last 9 games. And I don't see it. Unless when they get to, by the time they get Detroit comes in here and Detroit has everything wrapped up and they don't give a crap and the Red Sox sweep them, they might not make it. They might not make 88 wins. That's where they're at right now. That's, and I'm like on the fence, right? I kind of want them to make the playoffs because we want October baseball here. We haven't had it in 4 years, and you know you're drawing the enthusiasm back into the fan base by making the playoffs, which means if they do, I would give Cora and the players all the credit, and I'd give Breslow none. I'm not going to give him any. You know, some of the moves he made, you know, well, they signed Alex Bregman and oh, they got Crochet. Okay, that's 2. What about the rest of the stiffs? You know, they had a chance to get Joe Ryan and screwed it all up. You could have had Crochet and Ryan at the top of the rotation, and you chose not to pursue that path. We would be having I think we'd be having a different conversation. Honestly, I think if they were able to pull that off and you had Joe Ryan in here, I think Frank would have been more correct with his prediction of 90 to 92 wins. Now you don't have that. So he's got work to do. And now he's talking about hiring a GM in the offseason. Swell. Let's see how that goes. You know, I don't know. It's not looking good. This is going to be a typical choke job. And I am not happy. I am not happy about this at all. I wish they were in a better position. And like I said, about being on the fence, the other half is I don't want them to make the playoffs because that solidifies their argument that they don't have to spend money on talent, which is pissing me off. So it's like, on one hand, I do want them to make it because we want playoff baseball around here, but I don't want them to make it because I want the management to look bad. And I want them to look bad and do better in the offseason and build a better team, regardless of how they do it, whether they spend money or not. Do something and get these freaking Ocean State job lot garbage out of here. If I see David Hamilton on this roster next year, don't even bother. Don't bother. Wiesert, Kelly, those are the top 3 guys right now on my list. Leland Hendricks is probably going to be gone. Done with him. Bye. You know, you get nothing out of them guys. See you later. You know, hopefully Marcelo Maia can come back from his wrist surgery. And, you know, the other unknown is whether or not Alex Bregman wants to stay. If they don't make the playoffs, and even if they do, by the skin of their teeth, he may not stay. And then you're right back to square one. Who the hell is going to play third? I mean, they got major issues. And so I don't know if that's a factor in them kind of stumbling, worrying about whether he's going to stay or not. There's a lot of speculation that he's already made up his mind. I see the rumors going around. If that's the case, then it's not good. You know, he's one of the leaders, if not the de facto leader, along with Cora, to try to right the ship in there. And if you got guys worrying about whether he's coming back or not, you're worrying about the wrong things. You should be worrying about getting the wild card. You should be worrying about getting the playoffs. And poor Cora, he's already flip-flopped 3 times in the last few days. Somebody asked him about making the playoffs a few days ago or whatever, and he said, well, we got to stop talking about October baseball. We got to worry about today, blah, blah. And then somebody asked him about it, and he said, well, we got to focus on trying to get in playoffs, blah, blah. So, he's all over the place. And, I hear the sports radio people talking about, if they don't make it again, he should be fired. And totally disagree with that. Me and Frank have been on here saying, he's one of the best managers in the game. Who is his replacement going to be? Who would you want if you fired Alex Cora and because they don't make the playoffs? Who the hell is going to be the next guy that you think bozos upstairs think is going to be able to turn this around and get more out of the doo-doo juice? Who is getting more out of the doo-doo juice around here? You're not going to get squat with these guys. So I completely disagree with firing him. We've said it already. The second he goes to the Yankees would, I bet you that if the Red Sox fired Cora, they would fire Boone out of New York. They'd hire Cora, and with the talent they have, they would win the World Series next year. That's the fear that me and Frank have, and at some point it wouldn't be a fear; it would be a facts. So, I think the sports radio guys are wrong. Alex Cora is not the problem. The front office is the problem. The front office is still going to be the problem. They're the ones giving them the players, and they're giving them garbage. So, they got a tough stretch ahead, and we'll see what happens. All right, I think I've blabbed and commiserated about them long enough. Let's move on. Let's move on to some good news. We certainly need it around here. We've been waiting for this for a while. Patriots with a huge win down in Miami. Negative Ned gave them no chance. I said that they weren't going to win. They don't win in Miami. They've lost 8 of their last 9 to the Dolphins. They haven't won in Miami since Tom Brady was here. I think that's 5 straight years or something like that. They haven't won down there. And Tua has not had before this game had not lost against the Patriots. He was 7-0. So I just didn't see it coming. I saw really no way they were going to win the game. Until watching the game and seeing how bad Miami's defense is. I mean, wow. That defense has definitely dropped off from what we're used to. They usually have, tightened up corners, and they've made Tom Brady's life hell down in Miami a lot of the time. And the Patriots, fortunately, were, for the most part, able to have their way with them. I mean, I think, going back to, let me go back to the keys to the game. These are the keys to the game. I said before this game that, one, they can't get out-coached. I don't think they did. I think McDaniels, shot himself in the foot near the end of the game. They couldn't get the plays in fast enough. They had some penalties on their last drive when they were driving down in the Patriots zone that caused them to lose some yardage. I said that they couldn't let Tua get into a rhythm and the defense needed to make stops. Now, listen, he did beat them for some plays. He beat them for some deep plays. Tyreek Hill, 47 yards. The running back, he hit for a 29-yard game, and they were lucky on that play that he stepped out of bounds or it would have been a touchdown. So, 297 yards passing for Tua. The pass defense definitely need Christian Gonzalez back. they don't have it without him. So, but I will say this: the defense on the last drive, the defense made stops when they needed to. When Spillane came in on 3rd and 12 and sacked Tua, and then on the next play, 4th and 12, Milton Williams, the $100 million man, sacked him, and that basically sealed the deal. So I forget how many sacks the Patriots had. I want to say 4 maybe. So they were putting pressure on Tua. They did have their moments, but the defense definitely needs to do better in the pass game, and they just don't have the horses right now to do it without Gonzalez in there. And the last key I had was mix it up better on offense. They can't have multiple 3-and-outs. And so top 3 takeaways from the game after watching the game. Obviously, the offense was much better. They didn't have the 3-and-outs like they had against the Raiders. And Drake May looked like he was in command of the offense. He was crisp and sharp in the game. Not a bunch of overthrows like in the last game. He looked really good. Number 2, the defense struggled, but again, they made those big plays at the end of the game. So, the defense still needs work. They did decent stopping the run. They only held Miami to 61 yards, but they got to find a way to do a little better in the pass game. And my number 3 takeaway is the special teams were terrible. They gave up that 74-yard punt return. And the kicker missed 2 extra points, which, because he missed the 2 extra points, it forced the Patriots to go for 2 when they went up 21-20 when Drake May scored a touchdown. Stevenson ran in for 2 yards. I mean, if he makes those kicks, though, they're already up 23-20. They go for the extra point there, and they don't have to worry about going for 2. So the kicker redeems himself by making the 53-yarder at the end of the game there to seal things off. But he's on thin ice in my book. He can't miss extra points. He can't miss field goals. And he also missed a kickoff late in the game inside the new box with the new rules, and basically gave Miami good field position at their own 40. So if you don't know, there's a new rule for the kickoffs now. So the kickoffs, when they go out of bounds, it's automatic at the 40. I don't remember if it went out of bounds or not, but the ball has to be, they have a zone now. I think it's between the 20-yard line and the end zone where the ball gets kicked in that zone so the guys can return the kick. Or if it goes out of the end zone, it comes out to the 35. And if it goes out of bounds, it comes out to the 40. And so he botched the kick. And so he had a really bad game. And at the end of the game, Mike Vrabel was giving out game balls. And he gave out a game ball to the kicker, Borregales. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell, and a lot of people were saying, how the hell did this guy deserve to get a game ball when he missed kicks and botched the, kickoff and all this other stuff? And I guess, I get it. You're trying to boost his confidence a little, right? You're not trying to kick him when he's down. So, I think it's an optics thing that he did there. And, he tried to, I don't want to say baby him, but, try to make him feel good. And so that's fine. But I can tell you during the game, many of us, yours truly included, didn't want him to get on the flight back to Miami. The way he was missing those kicks. So, Andre Borregales, I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know who Jerry Glanville is, you better get familiar with him real quick, because he's the one that said the NFL stands for not for long, which is what's going to happen to you if you miss kicks this week. You won't be around. So you better get right, dude. That's all I can say about that for now. I think that, the O-line was definitely much better in this game. I think that other than right tackle Morgan Moses, who had 3 penalties, I want to say at least 2 of them in a row, the old vet there, dude, you're supposed to be, showing the ropes and anchoring that side of the line. Please don't be the weak link going forward. I think that Will Campbell and Jared Wilson both had a pretty good game, especially in the run game. Listen, I think that they had much better balance, which is what they needed. I think they ran the ball 26 or 29 times, and they only threw it 23. That's exactly what you need. I said last week, if Drake May has to throw the ball 46 times and you only run the ball 18, you ain't going to win. Everybody knows that you have to have balance. And I give the coaching staff a ton of credit because they had to have adjusted something one way or another to make things easier and better for the players, for them to go out there and execute the plays the way they did. And so it's the same mantra we've been talking about for 20-something years. The coaching staff puts the players in position to succeed. I think they did that, and I think Drake May did a hell of a job executing. He's definitely it's his best game as a Patriot. If I was grading him, he'd definitely get an A, maybe even an A+. No turnovers. That's huge for him. And they allowed him to use his legs. And he used his legs correctly, ran him for a touchdown. They don't need to hit 40-yard bombs all game long. They have to make the throws and make it look like they're going to do it. But it's always been in this offense, it's going to sound redundant and it's going to look bad. And people are going to be like, we don't want this anymore. We're done with it. But listen, the dink and dunk stuff worked for them. When they had Brady was young, he wasn't slinging it 40, 50 yards down the field all the time until they got Randy Moss. So listen, give him plays that work. Give him short stuff. Give him guys get open quick. The offensive line last year was so bad. They were trying to run those stupid long plays or West Coast offense, whatever the hell they were trying to do. The offensive line couldn't block anybody. You have no time for the guy to do anything. This year, I think it's different. The O-line's doing a little better. Is it perfect? No. It's never going to be perfect. But they definitely look better than they did in week one. And hopefully we'll see more improvement. I mean, you got TJ Watt coming in here now this week. Again, run the ball. I think that the left side with Campbell and Wilson, those guys are road graders. Use them. Run the freaking ball over there. Power run it. I know they have a guy that they've been using as the tight end in the backfield for a fullback. Throw him in there and put Stevenson behind him and freaking plow it through. Run the ball. You have 3 good running backs. Use them all. Gibson's good. Henderson, we've been waiting to see, the breakout from him. Run the ball more. I think they used some play action pass that I don't think that Drake May's been familiar with, because I think he, ran in college a lot out of the shotgun. And that's the way a lot of the college kid teams do it now. They all have this, pro West Coast shotgun, run and gun, run and shoot, whatever from the old Houston Oilers run and shoot from the 80s offense, or West Coast offense, or whatever you want to call it, with quick slants and so forth. And the quarterback's in the shotgun 90% of the time. Then when he gets on the center, he can't do squat. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing and doesn't have enough time. Play action always works good. And, I think they, long story short, I just think that they did a much better job mixing it up, and it was much more like what we've been used to seeing around here, and long overdue. And I want to see more of it, and hopefully they can. Remains to be seen. So we'll find out. I think that defensively, they need to get Christian Gonzalez, they need him back desperately, but not at the expense of, losing him for another 6 weeks down the line. Again, I'm in favor of babying him. Fine. If he needs to sit out this week too, let him sit out. He practiced yesterday, but not hard, I don't believe, from what I heard. So there's no rush. You need him later in the year. And so I'm fine if he sits out 1 or 2 more weeks. Let him sit out. Get him back against Buffalo at full strength in week 5. and hopefully he's good to go the rest of the way. Of course, the speculation and rumblings is he had a setback. That's why it's been taking so long. I don't doubt that for a second. He's been dealing with this since July, right? 8 weeks. It's always the way. Sometimes, the guys try to power through and do more than they should. And we've talked about this on here a bunch of times, and we'll do it again. It's for those guys, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. If he goes 100%, gets hurt again, we call him soft, can't stay healthy. When they don't, same thing. They can't play, they're always out hurt. So they have a double-edged sword. They're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. I'd rather err on the side of caution. There's always, if you can play without hurting the team, fine, play. But you got to run full tilt against Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf coming up this week, and all the number ones in everybody's lineup. And you can't afford to have Christian Gonzalez at 80 or 90%. He has to be at 100% in order to keep up with everybody's number one. So I'm fine with him sitting out. I think, exciting win for the Patriots. Exciting. Up and down. When Miami returned that punt for a touchdown, I was like, oh, here we go again. We're not going to win down there. And then Gibson breaks it, and Vrabel's running down the sideline trying to keep up with him. That was hysterical. But, huge play. So the special teams wasn't completely garbage. They were for the most part, but on that particular play, they did a good job. And Gibson did a good job, and they got a kick return touchdown right on the next kickoff. Ooh, excuse me. It's been a long day. Danny Mac Jones. Yeah, Danny. Mac Jones won a game. I did not have him winning that game. As I had mentioned previously, I can't trust him as far as I can throw him. I don't care who he's playing for. I still don't trust him. And it's unfortunate. And again, it's not personal. I wanted him to succeed here. We all did. But, not wishing any ill will towards him. I just don't. I don't believe in him the same way. So, whatever. But going back to the Patriots game, that the Patriots were 7 for 12 on third down. That's huge. I forget what they were against the Raiders, but it wasn't probably very good. So you need to convert on third downs. They did, including a huge play at the end of the third quarter. It was a 3rd and 3 from their own 24, and Drake May hit Stevenson for a 55-yard gain. That was huge. Excellent play. Good play all around by everybody on that play, executing that off on 3rd and 3. So, listen, if they can get that kind of play from Drake May every week, and he can limit the turnovers, they're going to win some games. He's going to have his ups and downs. He's going to take his lumps. Buffalo's not going to be an easy game. But listen, they have a legit shot to beat Pittsburgh, and they have a legit shot to beat Carolina and be 3-1 after 4 games. Would be phenomenal. I did not see it coming. 3-1. I had 2-2 going into Buffalo, so we'll see. Hopefully they'll beat Pittsburgh this week. And the Patriots, all these times. Listen, Mike Tomlin's a good coach, but the Patriots have pretty much had Pittsburgh's number for a long time. So I kind of expect more of the same. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's 40-something years old, still trying to mesh with the guys he's playing with. Everything's all new over there. He does have an edge experience-wise. I do expect him, unfortunately, to pick the Patriots' defense apart to an extent. But I do think if they can pressure him enough and maybe force him into a few mistakes and slow them down somewhat, then they have a shot. I mean, I forget who Pittsburgh played last week, but they got manhandled, and I think Rodgers was like, I don't know, 9 of something for like 100 yards. I don't know. He had a bad game, and I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Patriots, but I think there's opportunities to slow them down and force them into a couple miscues and take advantage, and so that's going to be the keys, and so I think that the X's and O's on offense, I think Pittsburgh has the edge because of Aaron Rodgers, just because he's been around so long. They have DK Metcalf now, number one guy, and Frymouth as a tight end has been a good option for them. I don't know much about the running backs because I haven't seen them play, so we'll get a look at them this week. Defense, I think the defense is even for both sides. Both sides have been giving up big plays. Both defenses have been struggling. And so there's plays to be had there. And hopefully Drake May can take advantage. And hopefully the Patriots will make more key stops like they did last week. And so we'll see what happens. And then the special teams, I think the Patriots have an edge in special teams as long as the kicker doesn't miss any kicks. And as long as Brandon Schooler doesn't take any more stupid penalties. I mean, what's with this guy? I've been hopping on this guy for a couple of years now. I mean, for as good as he can be and be like the Matthew Slater 2.0 that we think he is, at least I feel like at least once a week he's costing them penalties, and you can't have it. So, dude, you got to clean that up. But the kicker missing kicks, that's a bad no-no. And having Gibson and Henderson back there for the kickoffs, I mean, that's a huge plus. And so I would give the Patriots the edge there because they have a legit shot to give the Patriots a good field position or run it back all the way every time they touch the ball. So those are my X's and O's. The keys to the game. Where did it go? Right here. I have they have to take advantage of bad defense offensively. They can't. Drake May has to do like he did this past week against Miami. He's got to command the offense. He's got to make the throws he needs to make. He can't overthrow anybody or short shoot anybody or make bad plays. No turnovers. Same thing. And Pittsburgh has bad defense. Take advantage. Everybody else is. Why can't you? Right? Number 2, run the ball down their throats. Like I said earlier, I would use the left side of the line with Campbell and Wilson and road grade the hell out of them. And I don't, and maybe if TJ Watt is on that side, then run it on the other side, because I heard something before I came on that, the teams that are effective running the ball this year against Pittsburgh are averaging like 6 yards a carry, the opposite side that he lines up on. And the side that he lines up on, they're only averaging 2.5 yards a carry. So wherever he isn't, run the crap out of the ball on the opposite side and shove it down their damn throat and control the clock and don't make mistakes. Don't fumble. Don't do anything. And again, the special teams, that's my third key, obviously, with the kicker there. He can't have miscues this week. If he has any missed kicks, I don't care if it's a field goal or extra point. I don't care if it's a kickoff, boo-boo. Any combination of those, one of those out of the 3 or any of them, I would definitely be bringing somebody in for a tryout this week because, he's so unreliable and, no game ball. I don't give a crap if he hits a 57-yard field goal to win the game. They have to bring competition in for him to let him know that, hey, look, you're making the long kicks 50 yards, but the rest of the stuff isn't working. And you're not cutting it. So we got to bring some people in here and compete with you and let them know that, it's not going to be a free ride. That's a huge thing for me. I hope he, straightens himself out. I hope he pans out. Don't want to see, I'm not trying to get rid of the guy. I'm not saying he's a bum, but, at some point you got to step up. And being at home, hopefully that'll help. Listen, there's a lot to dissect. The offensive line does still need some work. Defensively, they definitely need work. The linebackers, I don't know if it's the play calls or, just the being out of position or what the deal is with the defense, but they've looked bad in pass coverage. I don't know what linebackers we have that can cover, but the ones we have right now aren't getting the job done. And I wish I had the guy's name in my head from last week. Jalen Hawkins. Jalen Hawkins is a huge liability back there. They got to do something with him. He's got to step up. He's been a huge problem for them so far. They're picking on him. They're taking advantage. I'm hoping that they can coach him up and put him in some better spots, and hopefully he can make some plays and he does. He makes a play, but then he gives up like 3 freaking 20-something yard plays. Like, the one good play you're doing is getting offset by the bad ones. They got to figure it out. Again, I don't know if it's the play calling. I don't know if it's because the defensive coordinator isn't around because of a health issue. The guy that took his place, I forget his name now, stepped up, tried to do the job, did what he could. But, they gotta have better defense. They need an all-around effort again. And here's another key. I don't have this in here. I only have 3, right? But another key is they can't fall behind. It would be nice to see them get off the jump and get a 7-point lead on these guys and play with the lead for a change. Don't fall behind 7-0 right out of the gate, and then you got to climb uphill because it doesn't bode well for your success. So, they gotta get off to a good start. And, I know Vrabel said it, and we're going to keep talking about it. You got to take advantage of bad football. That game they won last week is a game last year they definitely would have lost. They definitely would have found a way to shoot themselves in the foot and lose that game. Luckily for them, the mistakes they made didn't hurt them, and they took advantage of the other team kind of crapping themselves near the end of the game. So kudos to them. I mean, that's the difference between, in my opinion, having Mike Vrabel here and not having him here. I think the operation looks better. Even though the defense and special teams struggle, I think the offense looked better last week. I mean, just listen, we've been talking about this since training camp. The operation looks better. It looks like a real team. They don't look out of whack and out of place like they did last year. And again, it's not a Gerard Mayo issue. He was put in a bad spot. But all the coaching staff that he had last year, he had to cobble it together. This time you have like real assistant coaches. Vrabel has familiarity with 90% of them, and so you have cohesiveness in the coaching staff. It starts with them. They have to do the game plans good and put these guys in positions to succeed. And so, listen, we want to see the Patriots make the playoffs. I'm still on 8-9 wins for right now because I need to see more and see what they can do. That's probably going to be my thing until they reel off, maybe 3 or 4 in a row, and then maybe it's a different tune. But for right now, 2 games, they're not in well-oiled machine territory yet. So the jury is still out. And it's a work in progress. And again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Even though they only have 17 games or whatever, 16 weeks, 17 weeks. Listen, it's still going to take time for them to gel and get continuity with everything. And as the weeks go on, hopefully they'll get better. And so, that being said, let's move on to the poll questions from last week. We only had 2. Let me find them. All right, here we go. Do you think the Patriots should replace Andres Borregales after his poor performance versus the Dolphins? Yes, he's unreliable, 75%. No, give the kid a chance, 25%. So, like I said earlier, a whole bunch of us around here probably didn't want him to get on the plane back from Miami to come back up here. So, get your stuff together there, young man. The next one we had is, since they've now dropped to 3rd in the wild card race, do you think the Red Sox will still make the playoffs or choke and miss out? We had still make the playoffs, 0, goose egg. Choke as usual, 100%. I guess I'm not the only negative net around here. You know, the championships that they've won over the last 20-something years notwithstanding, I think that the pain of always losing and always choking, that pain still sticks. And so, nobody around here thinks that they're going to make it, and everybody around here thinks they're going to choke, which is too bad. I mean, but that's the reality, right? Let's move on to the predictions. Predictions from last week. Let's see. I said Trevion Henderson would get a TD, be it running back or special teams. Wrong. Still wrong. I'm still waiting for him to get his first touchdown. So we have to wait another week. I said that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle would each get 1 touchdown versus the Patriots. Wrong. Only Waddle got a touchdown, even though Hill had his chances. It didn't happen, and thankfully so, it didn't happen. Number 3, I had lose 2 of 3 to the Yankees and win 2 of 3 versus the A's. Wrong. I don't even want to give myself half credit. The Red Sox choked it away. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Yankees, and I was right there, but they lost 2 of 3 to the A's, and so I'm not gonna give myself a pat on the back and get half credit for that, because the Red Sox, they've been sucking. So that's that. Now I have this week's predictions. I think the Patriots are going to force Aaron Rodgers to throw 2 interceptions, which people are probably like, you're crazy. I have a hard time with these. I know Frank, wants them to be a little bit more outlandish. I think that is kind of outlandish. He doesn't throw a lot of picks. I think the Patriots are capable of forcing him to make a couple mistakes. I'm still stuck on this. I still say Henderson gets his first touchdown. Trevion Henderson, please come through, dude. Let me see your first NFL touchdown. I don't care how you get it. I want to see it. I think the Patriots are going to win 27-24. That's my prediction for this week for them. I think the Red Sox actually are going to win 2 out of 3 versus the Rays down in Tampa, but they're going to lose the first 2 games in Toronto when they get up there. They have Monday off, I believe, and then they have games. They have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They have games with Toronto. And so I don't know if they will have finished Thursday's game by the time we come on. So I'm going to say they're going to lose the first 2 games, because I think the third game, Crochet is supposed to pitch, I think. So that's why I have it there like that. And my last one, negative Ned's going to negative Ned. My last one is Cleveland overtakes the Red Sox for the last wild card spot by the time we come back next week. That's my prediction. And that's all the ones I have. I have 5 this week, Frank. You should be proud of me. I never have that many. Probably get them all wrong as usual, but it is what it is. I I do need that. I do need to find a Washington Generals jersey because I gotta be. If I went back and watched every single show and counted up my winning percentage, it's probably in the 200s if I'm lucky. So we'll see. I'll keep spitting them out. We'll see what happens. That being said, time to wrap up the show. That's it. I want to thank you all for watching. You're watching Boston Straight Shooters. We're on every week. Please be sure to watch us on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you all next week.